Can you hear Reverend Sherry?
No, I can't hear her.
Okay. Hmm.
Uh, so it's something on her part.
Okay, because I can hear you. You can hear me.
Okay,
Yeah.
let's
I,
get going.
Oh,
I
I
can
can hear
hear
her
her.
now.
Yeah. Maybe. Can you hear us, Reverend Sherry? Nope.
So she can't hear us.
Good
Right.
evening, good evening, good evening. Come on in. I'm letting everybody get in.
All right. I'm just going to put that in the chat.
Okay, thanks.
Tonight we are looking at step 7. Let me get Facebook set up. Oh, I have to sneeze. Excuse me.
God bless you.
All right. It is 7 o'clock Pacific. Good evening, everyone, and welcome, 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 welcome. Oh, no, I couldn't hear y'all. I had the volume of my it's a long thing. I had the sound down because I was recording earlier, and so that I wouldn't have any pings and dings and other things that the computer does. I turned that off. All right. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Metaphysical Bible Hangout. I am Reverend Sherry James, creator of the Metaphysical Bible Hangout, and we are wrapping up the Path to Wealth. Path to Wealth. This is a really powerful study. I hope that you have been following along. The probably one of the most beautiful things about this study is that if you've been interested in creating relationship with God, this will help you create that relationship. There is it enables you to connect with spirit um, and to personalize the relationship. And there's something in, maybe it's in the letter, but it might just be the whole process, where when you start by reading something inspirational to kind of seed your mind. Then you write a letter of gratitude to spirit, to say thank you for the things that are important to you. Then you get that letter and you read that letter in the mirror with emotion, and then you take a moment and you just visualize the thing with some, maybe one or two of the things that you're asking spirit to manifest through you. And then throughout your day, you're listening for guidance, hunches. You're always kind of on the lookout for, is that you, God? Is that you, God? It just it personalizes that. And then at the end of the day, you I'm sorry, I have one other thing. You celebrate the wins. I'm sorry, that's number 6. You celebrate the wins. So as you have demonstrations, as good things happen, you do the hallelujah dance, or however you celebrate, whatever that is. But it's like you celebrate God. You celebrate the whatever. If you feel like you got a hunch or a nudge in a particular direction, you celebrate that, and you're celebrating. And as you do that, you're conditioning your mind to be on the lookout and listening for God. And then the step 7, which is where we are today, is to end your day with gratitude and forgiveness. So this is a really, really powerful study. I do hope that you pick it up. and that you make this, or you incorporate these pieces into the things that you do on a daily basis. So I'm going to take a moment to do an opening prayer, and then we will jump right into this lesson because I want to have the full time for it. So let's take a moment and center ourselves and recognize that there is only one power, there is only one presence. That power, that presence is God the good, omnipotent, the everywhere, evenly present spirit of absolute good. That presence now manifests itself as us. Thank you, God. Thank you for breathing yourself as us. Thank you for expressing through us. We open our hearts and our minds so that we may more clearly hear your direction in our lives. Lead us in the way that you would have us go. Direct our attention to the things that are important to pay attention to. Move us so that we may be your change agents in the world, and we may live out the call on our lives. In the name and the nature and in the consciousness of I am, I affirm that this prayer is so, and so it is. Okay, let's go. So the chapter on forgiveness starts on page 75. And it opens with a quote from Martin Luther King, and it says, "We must develop and maintain the capacity to forgive. He who is devoid of the power to forgive is devoid of the power to love." Your ability to love is anchored to your ability to forgive. That's something you got to take in. Your ability to love is anchored to your ability to love. Am I saying that right? Your ability to love is anchored to your ability to forgive, because what happens is that that lack of forgiveness, whatever you're holding on to, those resentments, those senses of betrayal, the sense of being done wrong, as you hold on to that interferes with your ability to love. And so many times we're not able to even fully express or experience the good that God has for us because we're so wrapped up in distrust and resentment. I'm going to fix my camera here for a second. Distrust and resentment. And we're not able to take in the good that the Spirit has for us. So I think it's powerful, and I think it's important to learn the value and the importance of forgiveness. And I know in this instance, I'm probably preaching to the choir, right? I think all of us have been in this teaching long enough that we don't have the resistance to forgiveness to say someone new to this might have. But that doesn't mean that we may not have places where we have not forgiven. Arteries don't harden by themselves. They harden by unresolved hurts and unresolved grief and unprocessed pain and unacknowledged fear. It comes from that kind of stuff. So the forgiveness is important because it's a way that you keep your energy in circulation. You know, when we feel a hurt or a betrayal or a letdown or some other type of disappointment, right? Some other type of emotional sting, that what happens is that the energy just kind of congeals in that area. And if you do that enough over a lifetime, you can see how someone's arteries would harden or some other physical condition may press out in the body, because all it is just emotions pulled. So that's something that's really, really important to keep in mind. So this is the final step in the 7-step process, and it is at the end of the day. And what I want you to see in this process is that what she's giving us is a way to book in the day, or really to pray without ceasing. That's really what this is about. It's about praying without ceasing. It is taking the message that Paul gave to the Thessalonians in that first Thessalonians, I think it's chapter 5, verse 16 through 18, where he says, rejoice, pray without ceasing, and be thankful in all things. That this pray without ceasing, the way that you pray without ceasing is these are the practical steps. So what it doesn't look like is you constantly in a physical prayer condition where you are, whatever your prayer posture is. You know, in New Thought, we don't really do the praying on the knees so much that many of us did when we came out of a traditional teaching, but it doesn't mean sitting in the lotus position all day, you know, sitting in some type of meditation position all day. That praying without ceasing is about a way that you move through your day, where you begin the day by talking to God, you move through the day by listening for God, and you close the day by celebrating God and letting go of whatever is not like God. I hope you heard that. I'll say that again. This praying without ceasing, the way that it's described here, this process that's being offered to you in the path to wealth, is about starting your day with a conversation with God, moving through your day in a state of listening for God. At the end of the day, celebrating with God, giving thanks. That's what the gratitude is. And the forgiveness is letting go of anything that's not like God. Anger is not like God. Hate is not like God. Sadness is not like God. Resentment is not like God. God is perfect peace. So anything that is out of alignment with perfect peace, you need to do some forgiveness around it. She said, once you finish, I'm on page 76, once you finish preparing for bed, you're going to need to be in a place where you can speak out loud. And if you're concerned about privacy or not interrupting your partner's sleep, go to the quiet area where you hold the CSO morning meeting to do this final step. And for those of you that are new to this process and you haven't heard this term CSO before, it was May McCarthy's idea about how her name for God, her chief spiritual officer. As a businesswoman, she often sits in the seat of the CEO, but she felt like having her name at the top of the organizational chart didn't really represent how she was moving through her life, and that she wanted to communicate to herself and to her employees that there was something above her, which was the power and the presence of God. And she termed it the chief spiritual officer because that resonated with her. She had her C-suite and God was a part of her C-suite. So she's saying that you know, when you get in bed, when you get ready for bed, this part of the process is speaking aloud. This is invoking the spoken word, that one of your powers, and it's getting to a place where you're comfortable. So if you're in a home where you may need to step into the bathroom if you can't do this in your bed before you go to sleep. And what you do is you start by thanking the CSO for a great day and for all the goods you've received, including the marvelous people who are in your life. And so I'm doing this as an example. I would say, thank you, God, for the ministers of UFBL. We have our Thursday meetings, and that was a really great meeting today. So I really appreciated that and appreciated getting a chance to connect with everyone. I would say thank you, God, that Jordan was safe, all day today. I appreciate that nothing happened to him, where he's in a technology pod at his school, and that's important because that allows me to have my work day. But I've got to trust the COVID protocols that they have in place. Thank you for my health. Thank you for good food to eat. I went to Ralph's earlier today, and I found a little meal that was already like preset, like green beans, some I think they were red potatoes, and some shrimp, and had the sauce and everything. And all I had to do was drop it in the pan and cook it. And I'm like, who invented this? This is so awesome. It's already pre-made. It's fresh. I mean, it's awesome. So thank you, God, for that. And again, it's just thanking God for the little things and the big things. And you're saying it out loud, and you're expressing that appreciation. And you're just letting God know that I'm really grateful for these things. And, you know, the beautiful thing, we talked about this last week. You have, from a science standpoint, you have what's called at your brainstem, the reticular activating system. And the reticular activating system, it filters the billions of bits of information that run through your brain on any moment basis. At any moment, there are billions of bits of information that are coming in. And what your reticular activating system does is that it filters that information and brings to the forefront of your attention what you have conditioned it to send you so that you may pay attention to it. And so when you take the step of talking out loud to God and saying thank you, whatever you call God, if you use the term that May suggested, or if you have another term for God, thank you. Sometimes I say Spirit. Thank you, Spirit, for, you know, my home. Thank you for all of the resources that you've given me to keep my home. Thank you for my church and my church family. Thank you for, and you just go down the list. What you're doing is that you're conditioning your mind to notice things to be grateful for. And so what will happen is that the next day, there will be more things for you to be grateful for. That's what's powerful. There'll be more things for you to be grateful for. Not because there are more things to be grateful for, but because you're now noticing them. I don't know if you know that. We have this song, and it really, it says that the more I'm grateful, the more God gives me to be grateful for. But the truth is that you came to the planet fully blessed. You came to the planet with everything that you needed, like with every blessing. You walked onto the planet with that. And what happened is that you got conditioned out of noticing it. But there are no more blessings that are coming than what are already here. In fact, blessings are not coming, they're already present. Blessings are everywhere evenly present. We are the fish in water. But you have to train yourself to live and move and have your being in an attitude of gratitude. And so this is one of the ways that you do that. And so if you start your day, if you end your day like this, I promise you the next night you'll have more things to say thank you for. It's because it's just how it works. Because now your mind is conditioned to say to have more things. And so you're training your mind. This is what I want you to pay attention to. This is the level of consciousness that I want you to operate at. And the thing about gratitude, okay, I got to stay here. The thing about gratitude is that enough gratitude will make you float. There is a level of living where everything feels like a miracle. Gratitude is the pathway to that miracle-like living. It's getting grateful for for everything, for the little bitty things. And as you do that, gratitude will shatter the atmosphere. It will take what you have and either make it better or get rid of it to make room for something better. And so this ending your day this way is literally reconditioning, changing the way your life is set up. Several years ago, I've shared this story before, but it had such a profound effect on me. So if you've heard it before, just bear with me because I feel like it bears repeating. I worked for a company that was a fundraising company, a telefundraising company, and one of my clients, one of the company's clients, but the account that I managed or co-managed was Avon Walk for Breast Cancer. And as part of doing that work, I was asked or sent to go participate in the local Avon Walk for Breast Cancer so that I would be able to train my callers when they're raising money for Avon. So I go to this is in Santa Barbara, and I'd never done anything like this before, so I didn't have any know what to expect. But it's a marathon on day one, and it's a half marathon on day two, and so I do the walk, and while I'm there and doing the walk, there are people stationed along the way, and like, you know, they've obviously told the townspeople to come out and speak to us and say thank you. And at every little step, sometimes it's a high school band, sometimes it's because we're walking through neighborhoods, sometimes it's like the neighbors, and the people will set up tables and they'll have like fruit snacks and things that they have purchased on their own, but that they're giving to us as the walkers in this walk for breast cancer. There will be businesses might have water cups, you know, as you're walking by. But the thing that was most profound was that there were people everywhere that as you walk past them, they would clap and they would say, thank you so much for walking. Thank you so much for walking. And it made me feel weird because one, I knew I was there for work. I wasn't there walking for someone. I was there for work. I can't tell you what mile. I don't know if it was mile 13. I don't know if it was mile 22, but there was a point at which I knew I was tired. Like I felt it. Like it was, you know, I could feel it in my feet, but I felt like I could walk another 26. And so when I got back to my room and I was doing my prayer work and just kind of talking to spirit about the experience, I just asked, I was like, what was that? What was that experience? And the response that I got was that that's what true gratitude feels like. And it just, it changed the way that I see gratitude. And it helped me understand that one, I haven't been grateful enough, but two, that enough gratitude lifts. Gratitude has a rising effect. And that enough gratitude will make you float, because that's how I felt that day. I felt like I could float, even though, you know, a marathon is a marathon, whether you're running or walking, it's a marathon. It's 26 miles inside of a 24-hour period. It's a, you know, it's a process. And I felt like I could have done 26 more. And it just, it was the most powerful experience I think that I've had, and it changed the way it gave me a different level of respect for gratitude, and I began to understand that gratitude is the key that unlocks the doors of heaven. The gratitude is the key, that what happens with gratitude, as you express gratitude for the things that you have, that gratitude does one of two things. It either makes what you have sweeter and better, or it takes what you have and moves it out of the way to make room for something greater. This is a powerful, powerful practice. I hope I hope I've done a good enough sales job to make you promise to sit down every night and give thanks out loud to God for the things that you have brought into your life. It's just that good. It's just that powerful. And here, don't take my word for it. Just try it out. Just try it for 30 days and just see what happens. Just 30 days. And if it ain't working for you, you can go back to what you were doing before. Take 30 days, and every night before you go to bed, just say out loud, God, I thank you for, and make the list of things that you're thankful for. She says, this is also on page 76. She says, if challenges presented themselves, things that, you know, stuff that came up, what's something that came up today? Did I have a challenge today? Oh, well, I ran into some stuff with my recording time. So I still got to record my sermon for Sunday after we finish. I thought I was going to get it done earlier. But she says, if challenges presented themselves, thank the CSO for handling the situations for your highest and best good and for the good of any others who are involved. And so it's, you know, it's just thank you for the good, and thank you for the challenges, because both of them are my teacher. Both of them carry blessings for me. Thank you for both of them. This is what she says. She says, my summary might include the following. CSO, thank you for a great day. I sincerely appreciate the people I work with, my clients, my suppliers, my friends, and my family. I appreciate the new customer contract that we received. today and the discount that I got on my car service. Thank you for our customer, Fred, who realizes that we're there to support him and his staff. Thank you for seeing that any challenges that may be occurring in his operations are dissolved and replaced by great and flawless service for Fred and his team. For all your guidance that led me to the good that I desire, I thank you. And right after that, you go into the forgiveness. So what I want to do right now, let me see how many people we have. Good, we got 6 people. All right. So what I want to do right now is I want to go into our breakout rooms, and what I want you to do is I want you to share with the who's in your breakout room at least 5 things that you are grateful for that happened for you today. So I'll make sure everybody has enough time. I'll set my timer. 5 things that you are grateful for that happened for you today. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. I'm putting you in the breakout rooms. You'll have 5 minutes. That'll give enough time for both people to speak. 5 things that you're grateful for that happened for you today. And it could be a challenge or it could be something that's not a challenge, but 5 things that you are grateful for. Okay. So while we are waiting for that, I better set a timer. I don't want to miss that moment. Okay. While they're in the breakout rooms, I want to let you know about a new series that we are starting with the Bible Hangout. We are getting ready to go into the 4 agreements. So starting next week, we're going to talk about be impeccable with your word. Then we'll move to don't make assumptions. No, don't take things personally. Don't make assumptions, and also always do your best. So that is going to be really powerful. I encourage you to be a part of that. If you have the 4 agreements, I have you to I encourage you to pick it up. If you don't have the book, you can find it on Amazon. But also, if you do a search on YouTube, you can also get access to the audio version of. There's several readings of the 4 agreements on YouTube. This is going to be a powerful, powerful study. I also have a 30-day challenge that is a part of the 4 agreements process. And the reason that I'm interested in going through this process with you with the 4 agreements is that this election cycle, so right now this video, you may be finding this years after, this video is October 2020. So it's October 8th, 2020. And right now we're going through an election cycle that is like no other. And I don't know when I've been this consciously aware of the electoral process. I don't know when I've been had this strong of an opinion about the election process. But what I also know is happening is that it's waking up all of these big emotions. It's waking up all of this big energy. And some of it is not good, right? There's some anger, there's some resentment, there's, some hate, some fears, all of that is being awakened at this time. And the thing about these emotions is that as they're being awakened, we're making agreements inside of ourselves. And so even though November 3rd, 2020 will come and go, we will still be living with the aftermath of the agreements that we're making. And so I wanted to go through the 4 agreements because I felt like, what's the healthiest way to move through this election cycle? Because I do believe you have a civic duty to advocate for public policy that represents your values and represents the things that you care about. I think that that's important. But I also think that you need to be able to go through that in a healthy way, that you need to go through it in a way where you're not set off by the opposing candidates' opinions or what they decide to do. You need to go through that in a way where you remain intact. Because listen, November 3rd is going to come and go. You still got some living to do. You've still got some living to do. And so I want you to be able to do that. That's important to me. Checking the time. Okay. We got 2 minutes. Let me tell them if they got 2 minutes. 2 minutes. so that series I'm really, really excited about. And the challenge, and you'll learn more about it when we start the series next week. The challenge is 30 days of self-love. 30 days of self-love. And I think that you will love this challenge. I really do, because it is an invitation for you to fall in love with the greatest gift that God ever gave you, which is you. And so I encourage you. We have a whole little tracker, 30 days of self-love tracker, for you to use. And so you'll be able to download that. So we'll have all of that for you next week. I encourage you to come be a part of this conversation. I think it's going to be one of the most powerful conversations that we have had. And I'm excited. And the thing is, we've done the 4 agreements before. This isn't the first time that we've done the 4 agreements, but I feel like it's so necessary right now. And right now, when we're in this space, this pandemic space where everything is virtual and all of that, I feel like it is it's giving us a chance to re-examine the agreements that we've made across our lifetime. So I encourage you to be a part of that. I encourage you to come and join us. It's going to be a lot of fun. All right, time to close the breakout rooms. Giving them 60 seconds. Now, I believe there is a live chat. So if you are watching this live and you're on YouTube, you can put something in the live chat. I will see it because I am checking it periodically. So just FYI about that. Okay, great. All right, we are all back. Any insights? What did that feel like? How did that help?
Well,
Did you?
this is Sister VJ,
Hi, VJ.
and it was amazing. I think both of us couldn't quite get into the room in time,
Uh-huh.
but we finally got there, and just being able to share and understand, just getting another grip of this book.
Yes.
Reverend Sherry, thank you, sweetie.
Thank you. Thank you. Any insights? Did anybody have a mood shift, an energy shift? Rashi, were you going to share something? I saw you unmuted yourself.
Oh no. Well, it was really great talking to Gloria because she recognized my name from the call with John in the Saturdays, and so we had a great conversation. It was beautiful, and it was a lot to be thankful for.
Good. Any other insights? And this is to everybody. Any other insights or eye-opening experience or anything new, or was it just what you always experience with gratitude?
Well, we also came to a conclusion that we're both grateful for this time off with the COVID-19, because we had something in common. We've both been working for a long time, nonstop, and going to school and doing this, doing.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's so precious to us right now.
Good. Thank you for that. Thank you. The next piece of this, so that practice, just sharing that I wanted to do that at least so that I could guarantee that at least tonight you did do gratitude somewhere, because it's just that powerful. The next piece of this is then the forgiveness. And the forgiveness, oh, I wonder if I could find this. Give me a second. I want to find this because I want to share this with you. This is so powerful about forgiveness. It's from a daily word from August 28th. Hang on. So forgive. Of course, my computer is moving super slow. Okay, here we go. Listen to this. It says, I find freedom in forgiveness. Holding on to anger, fear, and resentment is like carrying a bunch of bricks everywhere I go. Each brick adds its own weight. And if I am not willing to release some of the load, the burden can become unbearably heavy. Forgiving not only allows me to lay down my bricks, it helps me use them to create a strong foundation of healing and growth I can continue to build upon. I release the power I have given the past over my present. I let go of the hold I allowed others to have over my feelings. I release judgment, knowing it only serves to weigh me down. I breathe deeply, releasing my pain one heavy brick at a time. Increasing strength, courage, and comfort creates solid ground beneath me as I revel in the freedom of forgiveness. And the scripture is from Colossians chapter 3, verse 13. It says, bear with one another, and if anyone has a complaint against another, forgive each other. I'll share this in the thing. It's so, I thought it was such a powerful entry, but I love the analogy of bricks being, that every place where I haven't forgiven is like a brick that I'm carrying. And I don't know if you have ever carried a sack of bricks, but well, you don't. I mean, maybe the average person can pick up 20 bricks, maybe, maybe a little bit less, a little bit more, depending on how strong you are physically. But if you think about every place where there is some resentment or a sense of betrayal or just something unresolved energy, it becomes like a brick in a sack. And then across a lifetime, carrying that, no wonder you can't get a good night's sleep. No wonder things are look as they do. And so there's energy to be dissolved. And so, excuse me, she gives this treatment for forgiveness. CSO, if there is anyone from my past or present that I need to forgive, whether I remember them or not, I now do so. I bless them, I love them, I forgive them, and I release them into your care, knowing that you will work with them in whatever way is best. And if there is anyone from my past or present who needs to forgive me, including myself, they now do so. And we are all free to experience a higher and greater good in our lives. Here's my question to you. What has been your experience with forgiveness? What has been your experience with forgiveness? And when did you make a decision that forgiveness was something that you had to do? Should I call on someone? Hello.
When it manifested in my knee. And I actually went to the doctors, told them what I was going through. They did a physical. He told me he could not find anything physically wrong with me. I went home. I looked in Louise Hayes to see what the knee represented, and it was refusal to bend. So I had to come to terms that I needed to let go of whatever feelings it had to do with relationship stuff. So I had to get to the point where I had to let it go and bend and be willing to apologize and to forgive myself for even going through all those changes, which I knew better, but we do this stuff to ourselves. So and it's like, prove me this day who you gonna serve.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know what, God, it's just funny, but I do remember that one experience. So
That's
if
powerful.
the pain gets deep enough, it's like, you know what, just let it go. So
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
what I experienced.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. Anyone else? What has been your experience with forgiveness? Have you struggled to forgive? Has anyone ever had to struggle to forgive? I know that's been that I'm raising my hand for that. I've had, and really the forgiveness for me was for me. I feel like I'm a little bit quicker to forgive other people than I am to forgive myself. At least it feels that way. May not be true, but that's what it feels like. Anybody else? What has been your experience with forgiveness?
Reverend Sherry.
Mhm.
Hi. I kept telling everyone they need to forgive, and finally it dawned on me I had issues with forgiving myself, and being honest with myself about that. I take it all out on me. I agree with you. I can forgive other people, but not Claudette.
Right.
So after years, finally, and I still have to forgive myself daily,
Yeah.
which may sound crazy, but I do.
I don't think it does. I think that probably if more people were being honest with themselves, they also feel the same way. It's I while you guys were in the breakout room, because it keeps recording, so I needed to keep talking. So I was sharing with the audience that the next um, thing that we're going to look at is the 4 agreements. And one of the things that came out in my study of the 4 agreements, just in getting ready for next week, is that at best I ignore myself, and at worst it was about self-love. At best I ignore myself, and at worst I put myself down. And I have been conditioned or habited to putting myself on the back burner. And so work, 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 work. And then, rest is really to just sleep for a little bit, to get up and to start the cycle again. And so life didn't necessarily have any sweetness or tenderness to it, because it was just on the grind, on the grind, on the grind. And I had to really get honest with myself and say, if I were in a relationship with someone and that's how they treated me, they were like, I'm your boo and we don't ever do anything special. I'm supposed to be the most important person in your life, and you don't ever have time for me. I wouldn't stand for that kind of relationship. And yet that's what I would do. That's what I've been doing to myself, was just working all the time, never taking time off, never prioritizing what my needs are beyond just the basics so that I can continue being there for everybody else. It was powerful. It was a wake-up call. It was a real serious wake-up call. So anybody else, what has been your experience with forgiveness? Your experience with forgiveness.
For me, Rev Sherry, I do it sometime, but I'm not constant on it. So I need to do it every day, and I need to forgive myself and others.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'm hard on myself and I'm hard on others too, because I feel, this is funny, I feel entitled. and I'm like, oh my God. And now I say, okay, this class is helping me to remember you got to do it every day, because it's just like brushing your teeth. I can't walk around with bad breath like that, then try to talk to somebody and nobody's not gonna want to talk to you.
That is such a great analogy, Rashi. That is it. Not forgiving is akin to not brushing your teeth. That is it. Your spiritual teeth. How about that? And if you walked up on someone and had a conversation, you would lay them. And that's what we do when we don't forgive. And we busy slaying folk with this funky spiritual breath because we won't do the forgiveness. And you got to forgive, because it colors everything, right? If you have the unprocessed pain, it's not like you compartmentalize it and no one gets to experience it but you. It colors everything that you do. I had a conversation with someone earlier today, and I made a statement, and all of a sudden the person was like, well, I didn't do that, and all this is going on, and all of a sudden they're defending themselves, and I'm thinking, okay, hold up. And so that forgiveness, it's so important for removing those emotional triggers. So very important. But I love it. It's like brushing your teeth. You need to treat forgiveness like brushing your spiritual teeth. I love that. That's going to show up in a sermon one day soon. I hope I remember
to use it. Please use it. Yes.
I hope I remember to give you credit. All
the credit belongs to you because I learned it from you.
She says, forgiveness doesn't mean that you absolve a person for their actions or place yourself in a position to be hurt by them again. Forgiveness means that you can recognize they did something wrong, but you can also choose to not let them or the situation have power over you anymore. You can choose to let it go and become free. You can choose to be powerful and create a wonderful future for yourself. Forgiveness is a necessary part of making this choice. You are as free as the depth of your forgiveness. Isn't that something? You are as free as the depth of your forgiveness. And for many of us, we ain't free. You are in a mental prison long before you're in a physical prison. You're in a mental prison long before you're in a physical prison. The physical prison showed up because you were already in a mental prison. And so the bars, whether they're a hospital room, confined to a bedroom, a bad relationship, or whatever your prison looks like, a job that you hate, whatever your prison looks like, you were in that prison mentally, and the physical expression materialized to match what was happening here. You are in jail, whatever your jail looks like, you were in jail long before you were physically in jail. And so the choice to live free is the choice to truly let go, to truly let go, and to free the other person. Again, it's not saying that what you did was right, that I agree with what you did, or that what you did was okay. What I'm saying is that I'm not willing to carry the poison, thinking that me carrying it is going to do something to you. One of the things that Spirit gave me about this is that each one of us has an emotional diet. We've got a mental, emotional, and psychological diet. And what happens is with with a lack of forgiveness is that it's equivalent to eating off of a plate of spoiled food. And I don't know if you've ever been around food that spoils, but it smells rancid. It just stinks. And yet, when we don't forgive, it's like we're eating that steady diet. Every time the person's name comes up for whatever reason, whether we brought it up inside of ourselves or whether we saw them out in public and we were reminded of it, however their name gets brought up, and then we're all emotions come up again. And forgiveness is, I free you, I let you go, I forgive you. That's it. And I think sometimes we think that forgiveness makes us a doormat. But forgiveness, I learned this from Reverend Mary, forgiveness does not mean reconciliation. We may not reconcile. Reconciliation is not required. I forgive you so that I may move forward. I forgive you so that I may take the next step in my journey. And I want the fullness. You know, I want everything that's in my spiritual escrow. I want it. I want to be able to get to the end of my life and God say to me, boy, she got everything that I had intended for her. She didn't leave nothing in spiritual escrow. And what happens when you don't forgive is that you cut off your own good. You cut off the stuff that's for you. And you don't cut off the stuff that's for the person you're not forgiving. They got their own agreement that they're moving through life with. You have no bearing and no influence on that agreement and what they're able to draw out of spiritual escrow. You only have control over yours. And when you refuse to forgive, you just say, I can't forgive them. When you refuse to forgive, really what you're saying is, you know, all that good stuff God has for me, I don't want none of that. I ain't got no room for it because I need a space in my life for this anger. I need a space in my life for this sadness. I need a space in my life for this betrayal. I don't want the good furniture. I want a house full of junk. You got to make the choice. You got to make the choice. It's not. It's not, you may not believe that you forgive the person when you start, but you can move through the process of forgiveness. And so maybe that's something to emphasize, is that forgiveness is a process. So it may not be, I forgive you, and then you're done. You may have to work with forgiveness over a period of time. You know, when I first started out in business, this was years ago, I just graduated from film school and I had finished my contract at Disney and they didn't renew it. And there was a producer who was independent who I had partnered with. I forgot how, I must have met her at a networking event. And I partnered with her. She had the office. I moved in my stuff into her office and partnered with her. I was going to be her producing partner. And we had a disagreement and I decided, hey, you know, we're not going to work together. And I had taken all of my files and everything and put them in her, in her office because I was working out of her office. And she changed the locks. And when I tried to get my things, she called the police. And I was like, are you kidding me? And because my stuff was in her office, it was essentially considered her property. And I had to come up with a list from memory of the things that belonged to me. And she would send me stuff based on that list. And when I had just started a new thought and I learned about forgiveness. And so whenever her name would come up, I would say, I forgive her, I let her go. I forgive her, I let her go. Now, the first day I said that, I didn't believe that at all because I wanted to cut her. But I would say, I forgive her, I let her go. I forgive her, I let her go. Whenever it would come up. And I can't tell you when, I don't know if it was a month, I don't even remember now. if it was a month, 2 months, or whatever, but it was just every time it came up, it was like, I forgive her and I let her go. Every time it came up, whenever the anger, the sense of like, how dare you? And that's my stuff and all of that. And I had to start up my entire Rolodex. This was before, your phone and stuff could travel from computer to phone and live in the cloud. It was before the cloud. And I literally had to start over. And I forgive you, I let it go. I forgive you, I let it go. I forgive you, every time her name came up. I don't remember when, I cannot tell you. I can only tell you that a moment came when her name stopped coming up in my spirit. What she did ceased to matter. And my attitude toward her became like there was no emotional resonance. It didn't, if her name came up, I didn't feel one way or the other. So please get that forgiveness is a process, and you may have to walk the process over multiple days, multiple weeks, possibly multiple months. I don't think so, because that's not how God works, but possibly multiple years. But if you are sincere with it, and if you go to God every night with the reach to forgive, though all that somebody seemed to have done to you will be dissolved back into the nothingness from whence it came. And you will be able to understand that experience and the blessing that it offers. She writes here, which is what I just said, you don't have to feel that the words are true or even that you want to forgive everyone at this point. Just say the words each night with as much sincerity as you can muster and include everyone. And this is part of the practice. And although it may be tough, it will pay off for you in the end, and it will also get easier over time. When you do this work, you willingly, you will open channels to receive more of the good that you want sooner. This is from a Wallace Wattles book, The Science of Getting Rich. It's a great book, and you should read it. That we studied, and he had a way of phrasing it. He said, you don't know the door that you have closed by the things that you have left undone. And forgiveness is one of those undones, right? It's energy that has come into your life because of a personal slight or letdown or whatever. And what happens when you don't take the time to process it and dissolve it and transmute it, when you don't take the time to do that work, unfortunately, what you cannot see is the good that you hold at bay. If you could see what you were keeping from you by the lack of forgiveness, we would probably go ahead and forgive. But as life would have it, we can't see the things that we keep from ourselves when we refuse to forgive. And so the stuff that's for you, it's for you. Nobody else can have it. But if you won't forgive, neither can you. And so, like I said, I want everything out of spiritual escrow. I want all the cars. I want the private plane. I want the house, the mansion. I want the whole thing. I want the healthy relationship. I want the good friendships. I want the trips around the world. I want the books published. I want the businesses built. I want the whole kit and caboodle. Give me all my stuff, God. And the cost is you got to forgive. You got to forgive. You got to let it go. You got to get the emotional poison out of the way so that the good that God has for you has some place to occupy in your experience. VJ, were you going to say something?
Yes, the thing that comes to mind and has helped me to be better with forgiveness, Reverend, I have decided I cannot allow your actions to determine my reaction.
Woo. I
have to even say that for myself, but it's all me. It doesn't matter what you've done. It's all me. And all me is the Spirit of God. And the Spirit of God is love.
Yes.
So that's my foundation.
I'm typing that in, PJ. That might show up in a sermon too. I have decided not to let your actions determine my reaction. That's it. That's power. That's the real power. Is that what you do has no bearing on what I have decided to do. And so I'm never moving in a reactionary position. I'm always moving at the point of cause because I recognize myself for the divine being that I am. I only react when I don't see myself as I am, for who I really am. That's powerful, VJ. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you. Oh, okay, let me get this comment here. Velma says, I learned a long time ago that forgiveness is for you and not the other person. But I have learned to apologize to the person and just pray for the other person. I love it. That's it. That's it. Thank you. Norma put a heart. Hey, Norma. That's it. That's it. You guys got it. You guys got it. And like I said, I know, we're in a Bible class. I know where I'm kind of preaching to the choir here with forgiveness, but I just want to remind you of doing it on a daily basis, and that forgiveness is a process, because maybe there may be some things that you've been working to forgive, and maybe you've had some difficulty working with it. And what I know from my own experience is that if you will go to God daily with the forgiveness, I can't tell you when. I can't tell you when. I just know it's not a matter of if, it's simply when whatever that energy is that you have around that person, place, or thing, that it will be dissolved back into nothingness. And that person's name or that entity could come up and it won't have any resonance for you, because you will have done the work. We talked about this, which is that sometimes the person we most need to forgive is ourselves. And that's a big one. For me, I don't know about anybody else, but I know that I have made choices that set in motion a set of consequences that I wish I had not set in motion, or that at the time I didn't consciously know I was setting them in motion. And looking at the results, I feel badly about the results. And what I've learned to do with the forgiveness is to take responsibility for my results. So unwillingness to take responsibility for my results was in the way. The more I take responsibility for my results, the more I'm able to forgive myself. The more I take responsibility for my results, the more that I'm able to forgive myself, because I'm saying that, hey, this was an outcome. I cannot change this outcome, but this is what I can do about this outcome. And the more that I do something about the outcome, the easier it is to forgive myself. And it's only when I'm sitting and I don't want to look at the outcome, I don't want to think about the outcome, and I don't want to process the outcome, and I don't want to do anything about the outcome. I just want to feel badly that this was the outcome. I also find that it's hard to forgive myself. And so maybe a backdoor way of forgiving yourself is to take responsibility for the results, whatever they are. I can't undo them, but I can take responsibility for them. Any questions? Any questions on this?
Reverend Sherry,
Yes.
is there a particular book that you could suggest about forgiveness?
Yes. Before You Pray, Forgive. Reverend Mary Tumpkin.
Yeah, I have that already. Thank you.
That one, that's the best book on forgiveness I've ever read. It's very accessible. It's not long. Is it 60 pages? I don't even think it's that. It's almost like a long essay. But it is one of the most powerful writings on forgiveness that I have found, and really influences just about everything that I teach about forgiveness. So this is the exercise, and we won't go into the breakout rooms for it, but you'll need something to write with. And the forgiveness piece is what I want you to do is to write down someone or something that you need to forgive. Write down someone or something that you need to forgive. Something or someone that you need to forgive. Maybe it's someone who has said something hurtful to you. Maybe there was some unfair treatment. Maybe there was just someone just didn't respect the position that you hold. I want you to bring that person, place, or thing to mind. Maybe you've got some forgiveness around some of the people in the political sphere, some of the choices that have been made. And listen to these words. CSO is if there is anyone from my past or present that I need to forgive, whether I remember them or not, I now do so. I bless them, I love them, I forgive them, and I release them into your care, knowing that you will work with them in whatever way is best. And if there is anyone from my past or present who needs to forgive me, including myself, they now do so. And we are all free to experience a higher and greater good in our lives. And since your mics are off, this is the part you can follow along with me. So thinking of that person that you're having some trouble forgiving. And as you think of that person or anyone else that you have anger or resentment toward, say the forgiveness statement out loud. And then repeat this, and you can say this out loud. Your mics are off. I bless you. I love you. I forgive you. I release you. So whomever you're calling to mind, get their image in your mind. I bless you. I love you. I forgive you. I release you. And if you have a note card, it would be great to take like a note card and write that forgiveness statement on there so that you always have it handy. I guess you can pull the book out, but it might be easier to put that forgiveness statement on a card. And then on the back of the card, what you want to do is you want to like think of some good that you want to create in your life. Like right now, I'm visualizing and thanking God for a brand new power bed. And I don't care how you get here, just get here however you can. That power bed, I've been going and visualizing it. Yesterday, I went to the sit and sleep store and I just laid on the mattresses and it was just heavenly. So think of some good that you want most in your life and create a gratitude statement as though you've already received this good and state it right after the forgiveness mantra above. So what that would look like is you bring to mind the person that you are, that you need to forgive, or people, might be groups of people. And you say, I bless you. I love you. I forgive you. I release you. You can do that simple statement, or you can do the longer statement that I read earlier. Then you turn your card over, and I'm just going to use something that I've written before, I've shared with you guys before. Thank you, CSO, for my amazing new power bed. I love sleeping in it. I feel like such a queen in this bed. I love going to sleep. I can't wait to go to sleep. I love all of the different functions in the bed and the zero gravity. Whoever invented zero gravity, give them some extra blessings, please. Thank you, God. Thank you, God. Thank you, God. And that's the process. That's the process. So you'll start it with the gratitude, where you're just sitting and thanking God out loud for the things that you are grateful for the stuff that happened during the day. And then you move into the forgiveness. So it's whomever you need to forgive. I bless you. I love you. I forgive you. I release you. Or you can read the longer gratitude statement. And then you have your written gratitude statement, the thing that you want to create most in your experience. You have the gratitude statement and you read that gratitude statement, and then you go to sleep. And that's how you put yourself to sleep with this process. Any questions? Any aha moments? Velma asked, what is the book that the forgiveness statement is in? It's in The Path to Wealth. So we are wrapping up that study by May McCarthy. Any other questions? Any other aha moments? Any new resolutions in regards to gratitude or forgiveness that you want to share?
Yes, Reverend.
Mm-hmm.
This book
Mm-hmm.
was on time for me. I have learned so much as being a part of this community.
Yes.
And Reverend, you pulled it in. I read the book 5 times because right now there's such a need.
Yeah.
And I use it throughout the day.
Yeah.
And it is enhanced
Mm-hmm.
because of what's a child named Reverend Sherry. Thank you so very much.
Thank you, VJ. I love you. Thank you. Yes, Constance.
I just wanted to say that the affirmation to say at the end, it kind of reminded me of the Ho'oponopono prayer.
Yes.
So I kind of have that on my phone. So sometimes when I'm really having a challenge and letting go, I listen to that at night. And I usually put my name in it so that I can release myself from whatever angst that I'm giving myself. So it just kind of reminded me of those where they say, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, and I love you. So
Yeah.
it's right on time.
Right on time. Right on time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? I don't want to miss anyone. Any other insights, aha moments?
I I I realized that I might have pent up anger for multi people that I thought I forgot about. I thought I forgot about them, and then it pops up.
Yeah. And that's what I mean by forgiveness is a process. That sometimes you may go through a moment where you feel like you have done all the forgiveness and you're finished, and then their name will come back up. And it's like, oh, I thought I was done forgiving you. Okay. And when that happens, it doesn't mean that you haven't grown or anything. It just means that you did all the forgiveness that you could at that level of consciousness. And as you grow, you have the ability to forgive more. You know, it's kind of like, if you go through a math class, there may be problems that you can answer and you get the grade that you get. It was the best that you could do, but you come back a couple of years later and this math that at the time seems so daunting or so challenging, and it's like, oh, that was nothing, but you've now grown to a new level of consciousness. And so they're just things that you can see differently because your field of vision has expanded. And so that's all that's happening when you find those moments where, someone comes up that you thought you may have forgiven them or you thought you were done with it. And it's like, okay, I'm still dealing with this. This is still something to process. Something that Fillmore says that I think is powerful is that forgiveness is tied to debt. Forgiveness is tied to debt. And if debt is something that you are working with, and it seems counterintuitive because it's like, what does unforgiveness have to do with debt? Just go with it and practice forgiveness and see what happens to the debt. Just try it. Just see. You know, these are things that you don't have to just believe because somebody said it. You can actually try it out for yourself and just see. And so if you always know that there's something to let go if there's debt. Any other questions before we close out today? Thank you so much. This was powerful.
Reverend Sherry,
Yes,
are
yes,
you
yes.
are you not doing the YouTube anymore? Because I can't find it. And
On YouTube now. This is on YouTube now. So I need a more help, because what's happened is I'm doing all of the admin stuff behind the scenes with the Bible Hangout. And so stuff is just behind. So I've got episodes that need to be uploaded onto YouTube, but this is on YouTube now. Because also there was a problem pushing to Facebook. So now I have to upload to Facebook. So the videos are on Facebook. So it is what it is. So that's what's happening. That's what's
thank
happening.
you. Thank you for all you do. I
Thank you.
appreciate you.
Thank you. And it's called Step 7, End Your Day with Gratitude and Forgiveness. So you'll be able to search, and I'll put the Mae McCarthy information in there so that you'll be able to, if you just search for it, it would bring it up as one of the videos. So, wonderful. Thank you so much. When we come back next week, the 4 agreements. So if you want to read ahead, read the first, maybe we'll take a little bit of time with that. Yeah, I think we'll take a little bit of time with that, because that first chapter is where he talks about domestication, but basically how we've been conditioned. And I think that's really something powerful to sit with. So we'll do this, and we'll take our time going through that, as opposed to like a 4-week series. We'll add a couple of weeks on so we can spend some time, because he talks about the dream of the planet, domestication, basically like how we form the agreements that we make, and then he goes into the agreement. So we'll do that. So we'll just deal with that first chapter, which is domestication of the planet, or dream of the planet, or whatever it's called. All right. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Have a beautiful evening, and I will see you guys next week. Take care.
Thank you. Have a great week.
Thank you. Have a great week.
Thank you. You too.